I saw a video of a gal talking about how normalizing credit card debt is extremely irresponsible, and as someone who has had credit card debt, has friends with credit card debt, and sees like the grander scope of the issue, I want to put my 2 cents in, because this is not an individual issue, this is a systematic issue. These credit card companies are predatory on people who do not have financial literacy, are predatory on people who need the money now. They are set up to exploit these people. It would be a different conversation if we were taught in high school, the school that we are all required to go to, if we were taught financial literacy, how to do our taxes, how to manage money, that would be very different. But that is not the case. This education and information is kept from people intentionally in order to prey upon them. So I think this idea of, oh, well, it's just the individual's problem that they're in credit card debt. No, not necessarily. Given the current situation, look at the U.S. government. The U.S. government is in astronomical amounts of debt. Why is it a bad thing if I am? Why is it a bad thing if people have student loans? Debt is not morally good nor bad. It is morally neutral. This idea that people need to be able to break out of this system and no longer be like preyed upon. These systems are built with such backing to prey upon these people. The individual has very limited power to break the cycle. Yes, is their ability to. Yes, can you get financial literacy? Can you get a higher paying job? Can you minimize your expenses? Yes, all of those things you can do, but only to some degree, not to the same degree that these credit card companies are preying on people.
I recently went viral for having $30,000 in credit card debt, and it even got picked up by Newsweek. There was an article featuring my credit card debt. And throughout the comments, a lot of people have been recommending different, financial gurus. And of course, people have been recommending Dave Ramsey. So here is why I do not subscribe to Dave Ramsey's snowball effect and his approach in general. So for starters, the entire premise of his plan hinges on having extra money to put towards. So you pay off everything. You pay your bills, you pay all your credit cards, you pay all your debts, and then any extra money you have, stop right there. Who the fuck has extra money? So then he's like, aha, yes, if you don't have extra money, get a second job, get a third job, eat rice and beans. That's actually something I joined a Dave Ramsey private Facebook group. People all the time reference rice and beans. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not willing to do anything to get out of debt. I'm not willing to eat rice and beans every day. I'm not willing to have 3 jobs and not spend time with my children. I'm not willing to forego my favorite salad on a Friday when I feel like getting one. My bills and my debt is so tremendous that $20 here, $100 there is not making an impact. The cost of living and low wages is to blame for the financial woes of most Americans. And being told that we can incrementally make these big differences if we just give up our quality of life for 5-10 years is absurd. I turned my $30,000 in credit card loans into a loan consolidation with an 8% interest rate. We're paying about $1,500 a month to pay that off. And it's painful because every month I'm like, wow, what could we have done with that $1,500? But I am not willing to eat rice and beans. I am not willing to have a night job. My mental health and my quality of life is more important to me than paying off that debt. And that doesn't make me a bad person.
I just saw a TikTok that was like, do you ever just look around and think, why is everybody so fucking rich? Like, in this economy, why is everybody so fucking rich? And it wouldn't let me stitch it. But honestly, everyone is just in debt. Like what you see on Instagram, people 3-4 holidays a year. Everyone's just in debt. I'm personally not. That's why you only see them on holiday once a year. But yeah, I recently went into a salon that was fantastically decorated. And the owner was like, yeah, all my credit cards are maxed out. I had to get a loan to decorate this place. And I was like, that is so refreshing. I love it when people just admit they're in debt.
Yo, most people are in debt and they don't realize they're in debt because they perspective of debt is crazy. So if you got a credit card bill that you ain't pay, you're in debt. If you have a car payment you ain't pay off, you're in debt. If you have a house that has a mortgage, you're in debt. You're on the right path. You're paying off your house and stuff like that, but you're still in debt. I'll be missing my old car that was paid off. But I'm grateful for the one that I got now because God provided for that too. But I'm just thinking bro, most people don't realize you're in debt. Those people who don't have a car payment, you're blessed. Keep your no car payment unless you just like your desires more. You want to go buy a car, that's cool. But I don't understand people who be like, I could pay it off, but I just choose not to. For the sake of a score, Granted, if you want to buy a house, you're like, okay, you got to move strategic. You got to do different things with it. But my whole thing is this. I think the credit score system can be very, very fraudulent. And I'm going to tell you why. Let's say you pay off your car early. Your credit score is going to drop. So you have a lower credit score because you paid something off. When in our reality, credit is supposed to mean you have good faith with people, meaning you pay people back on time, you pay them back their money. But when you pay them back earlier, your credit score drops. Why? Because they want to charge you interest on what they're getting. So they want to make money off of you. You pay yourself on, if you pay it off early, they're not making no interest from you. And people be so caught up in credit that they don't realize, like, the credit system is actually kind of messed up, low key. Like, I don't have bad credit. I'm just put that out there because I'm not being biased. I don't got bad credit. But I'm just putting it into perspective. Stuff need to be paid off. Until you pay something off, you don't own it. And even then, it's really not yours anyways, because the government, they try to take everything from you. So, like, but my whole point of this video is to tell y'all should try to pay stuff off. Like, you don't, when you have a car, credit card, you have debt. You're in debt. Y'all be thinking something is really bad, you're in debt.
A $300,000 a year broke, $150,000 a year broke, and $50,000 a year broke is all the same broke, but it's one key difference. So I talk to people every day, and recently I've been talking to quite a few people that make six figures, and you know, I look at their credit reports, assets, and all of that, and it's like they're coming to me and they're like, oh God, what's she gonna say? She ain't gonna say nothing. Everybody broke. I know everybody broke. I get it. It's hard out here. I completely understand. But the difference between $40,000 a year broke and $175,000 a year broke is, why are you broke? Like, what did you take a risk on? Some people take risk on liabilities, and some people take risk on assets. Meaning, you might have had a side business or a business that you were trying to get off the ground, and it didn't quite go the way that you planned, and so you dumped all your savings into that business trying to make it flourish. That's a different type of broke than I'm gonna go to the car lot and I'm gonna get a car that's way too much for me, and I'm gonna gamble on how I'm gonna make this payment every month. Two totally different mindsets, two totally different mentalities. Is lifestyle creep a part of it? Yeah, it is. That's fair. That's gonna probably be applicable to everybody. But the difference in behavioral analysis, from what I can tell, and I'm not like a sociologist or anything like that, but the big risk people, they're gonna figure it out. They always do, and that's why they are where they are in their incomes. Versus, I don't want to take a risk, little reward. I'm gonna stick with my $45,000, and then I'm gonna complain that everything is so expensive. It's okay if that is what makes you comfortable, then be comfortable there. But I'm telling you, it don't have to be like that. Just take the risk to get to the other side. I promise you that you will absolutely get to the other side. But yeah, everybody is broke. It's just broke on a different level.
You cannot budget your way out of not making enough money. It doesn't matter if you buy a new budgeting app. It doesn't matter if you research all these side hustles. It doesn't matter how many side hustles you have. If you don't have enough money, you cannot budget yourself into magically having more of it. I currently have $30,000 in credit card debt, and I am not throwing everything at that debt, because I realized that the one thing that puts me into more debt is not having enough money. So I actually make sure that my spending account is full, my bills are paid, I have money for immediate savings, such as things that are coming up in the next 6 months to a year, and then I maybe make extra payments on my debt. If I don't do that, if I put all my extra money, all the lump sums, every little penny and nickel towards debt, first of all, I could end up being in debt again after paying that off. And that has happened to me multiple times. Debt is not, you don't pay it off and reach a finish line and then it never happens to you again. It's a cycle. But when I do that, when I throw all my money at debt, then I have no spending money to pay for the things I need to pay for. And then what happens? I use my credit cards and I get into more debt. That's right.
So far this morning, I'm just feeling as if $7 million would make my life exponentially better and less stressful. I shouldn't even say better. My life's great. But it would be less stressful. And I just think, why is that so hard to get? Like, it's just $7 million. I just need someone to just throw it at me. Just hand it here. You know, share the wealth, spread the wealth. Like, I know there are people in this world that have $7 million to spare. And honestly, while we're at it, just give me an extra million for my troubles. Just imagine how much better and easier and less stressful we would all be if just like we didn't have debt, because we could just be handed that much money to pay it off. Ah, amazing.
Have you guys heard of debt depression? Because it is a real thing. It's not a clinical diagnosis, but it describes the depressive symptoms created by the emotional stress of debt. And this is backed up by data by the CDC that as your family income increases, your chances of depression decrease. If you're an American adult, you are 5 times more likely to have depression if you live at or below the poverty line versus if you're wealthy. And there's a lot of factors that play into this, right? It's not just about the accessibility of resources to help with mental wellness, but it's about having lower financial stress. So if you're in debt and you haven't been able to get out, you've got these long periods of time that you're under stress, and that leads to chronic fatigue, low mental bandwidth, hopelessness. Now, back in 2020, the average US household debt reached the highest level in 10 years. So this is a more important conversation now than ever. If you're struggling with debt and you're feeling depressed about it, here's 3 things that you need to do. Number 1, assess where you are. Make a list of your debts and the types, the balances, the monthly minimum payments, the interest rates, so that you have a clear picture of what you're dealing with. And you might think, that's just going to make me feel more depressed. It might temporarily, but knowledge is power, and it's going to empower you to move forward and tackle the problem. Number 2, set one small, short-term, achievable goal. Achievable is the key here. So even if it's, I'm going to make all my minimum payments this month, that's a big deal because it doesn't put a ding on your credit score too, you know? And 3 is connected to 2, that one small win will be the catalyst for many more. So understand that the first time you hit a goal on your debt-free journey, it's going to be so empowering to you. It's going to be a great feeling of accomplishment, and you're going to know that you can do it, and you're going to keep pushing through. And if you're like, that's all great, but I really don't know where to start, comment below with your questions. I would love to help as a financial coach and support you on your debt-free journey. See ya.
I'm in debt. A lot of debt. I have multiple credit cards, a car loan, a personal loan for a surgery that I had. And yeah, I'm stressed out about it and frustrated, and I thought, I'm gonna make this TikTok channel to hold myself accountable. So I'm determined to get out of debt in a year. $100,000 in a year. I made a pretty good income last year. I'm in sales, so there's no telling what my income will be this year. But I think I'm just gonna come on here like every day and say something I did that day to get myself out of this hole that I dug for myself. If anybody sees it, cool. If nobody ever sees it, that's okay too. It's for me to remind myself that I'm a fucking badass and I can do it. Quit being a little bitch about it. So, here you go. Day 1.